Everyone is capable of greatness at any moment, and everyone can equally mess up everything at any moment. I just watched this one TikTok from this food reviewer. Her name is, and she had like a decent amount of following, like maybe like a 15K, 14K at that point. She was invited as a food reviewer for this new restaurant just to get spotlight and make a video, you know, give like a food review that helps out both parties. And suddenly one of the owners of the restaurant, who's also the head chef, starts crashing out, like completely crashing out. That chef talks to the coworker, talking about why is she here? Why is she here for free? Who is she? What can she actually do? And mind you, the reviewer could hear everything. The head chef starts talking about how he has won like really prestigious award in the past, and he's like a big deal, and that his daughter has more followers than her or whatever. So why did they invite her, this random small influencer? She's not worthy to be here. The whole time, this poor lady could hear everything, and she's recounting her experience of how she's like bubbling up in tears. At this point, I would be hella pressed. And then after that, her husband comes in to eat, not knowing everything that has transpired. And so they have to leave. Why do that? And this video is not going to be bashing him. It's actually a way for me to understand genuinely why do that? Why does that happen, right? I first watched this lady talk about this incident. She had like maybe like 15,000 followers. I woke up the next day. She had like 250,000 followers. And the video had received outpouring of support and love from all different types of people, right? Someone figured out who the restaurant was. He had left the restaurant anonymous in the original complaint, but people figured out who that was, and then the head chef was let go of his position, and the restaurant had to close down and rebrand. The restaurant was fully review bombed. She had just gone from 15K to like 250K followers in like overnight. I'm looking at her channel right now and it has like 500K. Basically, overnight, everything just shifted completely for both parties, right? I remember reading some of the reviews in the restaurant's Google posts, and it was like, does she have enough followers now? Oh, I would eat here, but I don't have enough followers. And of course, the internet being the internet, some people started figuring out who the daughter was too. And some people even started blaming her, even though of course it's clearly not her fault. And she was in fact a pretty popular creator as well. So largely she received a lot of support because it's not her fault. And a lot of Asian immigrants in general probably know the feeling of not being able to control your relatives' action and being kind of embarrassed by it. So there's a lot of sympathy thrown to her as well, as she deserved. The head chef's daughter even went out of her way to offer a very sincere apology. So I thought that was very sweet, even though she did not do anything wrong. The tea was mad crazy. Like I was following this from the day one. I was like, yeah, man, yeah. And I think the reason I bring up that story is it goes to show you how much things have changed. Things are much more equalized now. It doesn't necessarily matter if you're a billionaire or if you have hundreds of thousands of followers. The currency of attention can make or break you. The richer you are, the more you can be protected from that. However, I think nowadays it's much more clear to see that that's not how things are meant to be. That things are in fact much more equalized. Person to person, from time frame to time frame, and even from moment to moment. Those things were always true, at least on a spiritual level for most people, and what's supposed to be. But now I think there's a larger chance of it being like fully encompassed in the world. And it is in fact true that past accolades, degrees, awards, kind of give us a false impression of our expertise sometimes. Like for example, a person with a PhD in environmental science shouldn't necessarily be an expert also in philosophy. They're not the same exact things always. A person who has a political power, like a mayor or a politician, doesn't necessarily know everything about healthcare and the things that are impacting the current landscape, right? Like the technologies that are being built, diseases that are being spread, they don't really understand. Even if you are an expert in a field, how much of what you know is like old information versus like updated information? I doubt that most people that have expertise in a certain field have kept up with the current trends, right? And that's kind of clearly what happened to this award-winning chef. Like, I'm sure his food was great and he is an award-winning chef, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's still an award-winning chef. And I think that holding on to that past title is probably what made him crash out like this to begin with. He's trying to figure out a way to be better in some sense. For the longest time, I thought this was a naive notion, a belief that I had, but how can I, a mere mortal, be equal to LeBron James? The LeBron James who has 40,000 NBA points, 6'9", 250, and is probably the most athletic person in the history of the world. Pure muscle, like a 40-inch vertical, could run like a 20-meter in like 10 seconds or something. Super intelligent, and it's probably the most athletic person we've ever had in the modern day. The LeBron James who has like 4 NBA chips, millions of dollars, a son in the NBA who's also pretty good, a beautiful family. How can I be equal to that, huh? Well, pretty clearly, obviously, I'm not the exact same, but let's say theoretically, right? Theoretically, there was a situation where I had to sneak through a small opening of a cave to retrieve a device that would save humanity. Would LeBron be better at that than me? Would I be better than someone else who's even smaller than me? A mice-sized mortal with small hands? I could also probably sneak better than him. Sort of kidding, but I'm also sort of not. It is in fact true though that there are circumstances and contexts where anyone can be great and anyone can be useless. It's not to say that hierarchies don't exist, it's just that hierarchies are flexible, demand us to be adaptable. I do wonder often if I actually see things this way. I sometimes look at my friends in medical school, or the influential ones with many followers, or with great jobs and great girlfriends and partners and whatever, and I can't help but feel kind of dejected. Am I really equal to that, I wonder? Am I really capable of that? But I also know that almost everyone else is probably thinking the exact same thing too. These days, I think employers are clearly very overpowered. I basically have to beg for like a 75K job I'm probably overqualified for, and that barely covers my expenses. And at the worst, they could still fire me at any point. I'm literally waiting, clutching in my pearls, waiting for a response from this job. Why are they doing this? Just say it already. Am I in or am I out? But now they won't because they have so much power. The market is so cooked right now. It's actually so cooked. That being said though, even if I was rehired, the problem still wouldn't disappear. Having been on the other side, it's actually pretty hard to hire people right now. Given AI and all the random market shifts, the nature of the economy has just changed drastically at this point. Uncertainty is understandable. That being said though, there are opportunities now to equalize things. Attention and creator economy has just gotten bigger and bigger, clearly, and it's also more accessible to everyone. It's very challenging, but it's true that it exists. And systematically, there's other problems, but this is the only solution right now. This feels almost like the only solution to me right now. There are also probably more freelancing and contract roles available as well. I have friends that have changed their lives drastically within a matter of a couple of weeks. I have some friends that have raised a lot in venture capital just because some investor happened to find their pitch good. Of course, they've probably done a lot of back-end work as well. Things just move so fast, it's hard to say, right? This helps me personally believe in others and also believe in myself too. And on the other hand, things could change the other way rapidly too, right? Like YouTube could die, it could get demonetized, TikTok could get banned, and you could get laid off at any point. You create a burnout sort of thing. I don't know, you could get canceled like that chef guy, right? Same person that spent years building up his reputation has now been tarnished just over one moment he was not prepared for. I mean, I've had co-workers that are working in the same field for almost 4 to 5 years. They're like 40, 50 years old that also got laid off. That's really incredibly scary and unfortunate. It's just wild how quickly things could change now, and we just can't predict it anymore. And many people will struggle through these transition times. So the best we could do is be compassionate and help ease the burdens of others as much as possible. That's partly why I make these videos as well. One, help others, yes, but also to be as flexible and adaptable as possible in my own life. It's just not about specializing in one thing anymore. Rather, it's about being adaptable and as flexible as possible. It's about changing with the time and creating whenever you can. This is why the title of this media has two different meanings. On one hand, it's a warning about treating people with contempt and judgment, because anyone could be greater than anyone at any given moment, right? That's what this video showed us. That's what the food reviewer showed us, whether it's 1 year of experience or 20 years of experience. On the other hand, it's an invitation to come and play and find out and mess around and see what happens. The more we try to solve problems with curiosity and discipline, the more we figure things out and things become easier for us. I do firmly believe that in almost any moment, we're starting from zero, especially when we're learning things, right? Only this. Shoshin is a Japanese word for beginner's mind. And that's kind of what I'm getting at here. The beginner's mind is paramount for every learning experience. This is how I've tried to approach learning and writing most of the time. I don't know what I'm doing at all. I have no idea what I'm doing at all. Like right now, I don't know what I'm doing, man. I'm lost. I do know eventually maybe something will be inspiring to others and something will be inspiring to me. I just have to keep messing around and finding out. Lately, this is how I've approached relationships with people as well. I mean, I've always been pretty open to people, but I've always had some amount of guard, you know? Something like, oh, I've known this person for this long, so I have to hang out with them, my voice would say. Or, I don't really know this person, so why am I spending this much time with them? My voice would say. Or, I don't really like this about this one person, so I don't want to really be friends with them, my voice would say sometimes. All these boundaries and walls that I kind of keep up, that I'm sure you're all used to doing as well. But honestly, like the more I let go of all those boundaries, the happier and calmer and more in flow I feel with people. I continue to randomly have these incredible experiences with people that I thought were nothing to me, that we were like strangers. People that I thought were complete strangers to me and just like random acquaintances turn into really deep friendships over time. People that I judged as being incompetent showed incredible levels of genius that completely humbled me, really. People whose resumes that I read were filled with amazing accolades and awards and whatever often surprised me with their thoughtlessness. And that's why it's kind of beautiful that we start with zero every single time. It's also incredibly scary, but it is beautiful though. Compassion helps us bring that accuracy into our life. It helps us both be accurate and live better. I love compassion. This means that in a weird way, I really do believe in anyone, including myself. That might sound naive. Even that chef that treated that lady poorly, I think can be redeemed eventually. Everyone, no matter how freaked out they may seem, can have great moments. The biggest gooner that I know might be capable of great romance, who knows? The most distracted mind is still capable of great works of art. The seemingly worst person in my head might be capable of great love. And I do think this is a more accurate way of living, but I also think it's much more fun. You're living in a world filled with potential for good. I want to be the type of person that inspires others and draws their greatness out, that's for sure. But I also want to be as liberated and free and fully expressed as possible. That sounds like a fun life to me. And we can't believe that about ourselves without seeing it in others too, right? It doesn't mean that we don't use judgment or patterns to make some decisions. Cannot be the full picture. In fact, it's probably the smallest picture that we have. In my inner world, there has to be an interplay between judging people based on their previous conditioned action, as well as being open to their possible enlightenment at any moment. Things just change so fast. That's why it's important to mess around, keep playing. The world will kind of reveal itself to us eventually, maybe.